So last day we have done the data loading and how we can load data and all those things, right?
Data
Just
import
give
we
me
have.
a yes, just give me a second. Okay. So sorry. Last day we have covered like how we can upload data into Salesforce. So today we will do some extension to that. That is how we can upload the related data. Related data means I have account, I have contact, right? Until and unless I upload the account, I don't know what is the ID of the ID of those accounts. Now, if I have to upload related contacts, then how I can do that? Like contacts are related with account. In lookup field, it goes with ID of that Salesforce ID of that field. Okay. So the Salesforce ID primarily always remember Salesforce can have 15 digit and 18 digit ID. Shreya, when we have 15 digit and when we get 18 digit ID, Shreya, you are in mute if you are talking.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yes.
Sir, 15 digit ID is the ID which we get at the search bar, like
Mhm.
with slash and then the ID is there, which we
Mhm.
select. That is the 15 digit ID.
And the
And
18 digit?
the 18 digit ID is the API ID of the field name which we are saving.
Mostly when we are doing the query, SOQL query, we get the 18 digit ID. So it is to keep the uniqueness. Okay. So Suraj, always remember this and always remember another thing, that is ID. IDs of standard object, those start with specific values. I'm just giving you the example. Uh, ID start. So this is the list I'm sharing with you in the group. So let me share my screen as well. So when we are looking into Salesforce IDs, you can see record ID prefix decoder. With this thing, this thing is used in different places wherever we are doing something where depending on ID we need to understand uh, which type of record this is. At that time we utilize this. So you can see account, contact, opportunity, lead. Okay. There are other things as well, other objects as well. Survey is another thing. Territory we will cover today to some extent. And it is a very long list. If you look into this, it is a very long list. So everything, every standard, and also the custom objects will have ID, but that is not ideally, it is very difficult to identify which object is that one. But all the objects, whatever we have in Salesforce, like contract, order, order line item, all these things are having the IDs, and this will be the starting digits. Okay. So this list I have provided, you can just look into this list. So from where we have came into this, that primary identifier and like whenever we are uploading related records, at that time we have the master detail or lookup fields, right? Now in lookup field, in UI we can see the name of the record, which is hyperlink, but at the back end, at object level, it is nothing but the ID of that object. Like if I have one account, account one, and it if I have two contacts associated to account one, that is C1 and C2, the account lookup field in contact will have the ID of account one. So how I can do this with like when I am uploading data? So for that, I have shared one article with you. Mm, this one. So you have all the things step by step. First thing, what you have to do in account object, you need to have one external ID field. Okay. And that external ID field, that external ID values must be unique. First thing. Second thing is that that ID should be present in your CSV when you are uploading that in your account. So in account, you have your flat records, all other fields. Along with that, there will be one external ID. So that external ID field will also be uploaded. Correct? In Salesforce, when we are creating or creating fields, we can create one field as external ID. Ideally, that field should be unique. Now, when I am uploading contact, at that time, I like wherever I have those relationships, for those relationships, I should have the external ID present in that contact list as well for the respective account. How that works? Just give me a second. Say you have this account one, ACC one, then you have ACC two, then you have ACC three. Now your external ID for this is EXT1, EXT2, and EXT3. This is your account. Okay. For account, the other fields, whatever is there, I am not putting it right now. Now you have your contacts. So C1, C2 is associated, should be associated with ACC1. Correct? If this is the scenario, and say there are more C3, C4, C5, and this one should be with ACC2, and this one should be ACC3. So how your external ID should be there? This is the contact CSV. This one. This is the contact CSV. Okay. So here it would be like this. So you do not need the account ID. This is the account name. Forget about this. If you can just omit this one. But this is your account one, account two, account three in your account CSV, how you are uploading it. External ID one, external ID two, external ID three. I have put that along with the uh, account account records. Okay. Now, if I'm uploading the contact and if I have this external ID properly put against those contacts, I can populate ACC1 lookup field value. I can upload ACC1 lookup field value depending upon this external ID. Suraj, you are getting my point. What is the utility of this? So, what we are, good morning, Gautam. So, what we are trying to say is that whenever we are having related objects at that time in the relationship field, master detail or lookup, we need to put the IDs of the related object. Now, I cannot get the IDs until and unless I upload it, and it is not handy with me. What I can do, if I have my external IDs present in my first object, then in second object I can just put those external IDs properly, and with the help of this external ID we can upload these contact records, and these IDs of accounts in the lookup field can be populated. Fine. How that can be done, I have already given these steps, like I have shared this within the group. Try it of your own and let me know. You have the details here. The samples are also be there. So if you are facing any issue to do this, please let me know. I'm not going through this process right now, but this is very important whenever you are uploading records. You when you are uploading data, the most important thing is that how you can utilize external ID field. Okay, without external ID, don't try to upload the records. Otherwise, you have to know VLOOKUP and other things. And first, you have to upload, then you have to extract, then you have to do VLOOKUP. There will be so many things. So, VLOOKUP is a functionality in Excel. So, that you need to know very well as well, because not every time you will get the external ID. But anyway, wherever we can utilize external ID, always utilize this thing to upsert, to delete, or to do update. Okay. Now there is one functionality which is called upsert. What is upsert? Upsert means you will upsert a set of records. Now it will, with that external ID and other things, depending on which it will either insert the record if the record is not present, or it will update that record if that record is already present. So that is the functionality of upsert. Okay. The functionality of upsert means I will do upsert in that scenario where if with the external ID I have to upload, then again that would be upsert. Now, if I have to insert new records, or if the records are existing and I need to update that, then I have to use this functionality upsert. How we can map it with the external ID field? This is the mapping. Okay, and you can just do this like it is step by step written in this article. Follow this one and let me know if you have any issue. Okay, this is one of the important thing. Now we will move to another important thing today, that is the security, the accessibility and security of Salesforce. So how we can handle the security, or what are the aspects of security? So whenever you are defining, or we are creating any user, like for this one, we have to go through multiple things. First thing is that whenever we are creating user in Salesforce, there are multiple profiles we can associate, and those profiles can have different license type of Salesforce. Okay, let me log in. Just give me a second. This part is one of the most important part of Salesforce. Whenever we are having the user, any user, whenever it is created, there is one thing called profile. Okay, and another thing is called role. We will come to that role later. Now whenever we are trying to create a new user, we are giving all these things, but there are two important things. One is profile. How you can identify profile? Depending on what, you can select this profile depending upon user license. What is the type of user license? Okay, there can be different types. Now the type, that is Salesforce, not Salesforce platform, simple Salesforce. I'm not getting because I have already created two users here. uh, I can just delete one probably. Let me check. Look into this. I have Salesforce license here. Salesforce platform is something different. Okay. Now, in your org, what types of licenses you have, that will, how you can identify that, how you will understand that how many licenses of what type are present in your system. For that, we have to go to company information. In the company information, you will understand that what types of licenses you have. Okay, and what types of permission set licenses are there. Now you can see this is one of the thing is sales platform. Okay, you have, I have total 3 licenses, I haven't used any. And then it is recently, just a minute. For now, I'm just expanding it. Ideally, we should be able to, but it is a developer org, so there are multiple restrictions. I'm not getting into that. Anyway, force.com. We have Salesforce platform license we can create. What is Salesforce platform license? That you can utilize the Salesforce platform account and contact object only. No other object would be visible to you. And the standard license which we generally use for sales, service, and all these things, that is Salesforce license. Okay, the row I have highlighted. There are other things like partner community, partner portal. Those I am not coming into right now. Like customer community, there is one thing called customer community. This is one of the important thing. Another thing is partner community. Again, I have partner community login. All these are different types of licenses, uh, which one company is acquiring. When we are doing this, we will be doing that for some company itself, right? And here you can see I have two Salesforce licenses which I have already utilized. Okay, a developer org, for your development, if you are creating that, there will be two licenses only. Okay, now other things. What else I can understand from company information? Like how much space is used, total data space and total file space. How much file space is used? This is one of the important things. How many API requests we are doing, and all these things we will come to these later when we will go through APIs and all. Anyway, except that whatever permission sets you have created, those licenses will also appear here. Now what is permission set, I will come to that later. But at least first thing is that you need to understand the license part. Whenever you are creating some user, there will be one thing called profile. How you can select one profile? You have to select the proper license of that user first. Okay. I'm sorry. Now, if I go back to users, let me delete one user. So in Salesforce, we cannot delete any user directly. What we can do, we can deactivate. If we deactivate any user, the license of that user will get freed up. The user is default owner of records created by guest users and can't be deactivated. Okay, this is one of the issue you might face. For that, what you have to do, you have to do mass transfer of records. Mass transfer of records, like if this person is the owner of the records, you cannot deactivate that person, that user. So for that you have to go to Salesforce records, and you have to mass transfer. I'm not doing that right now, but anyway, if I can deactivate this, you will see that in the licensing part, you will see there are two available, two licenses provided. One right now, both were used. You have seen that 2 and 0. If I can deactivate this, you will see 1 and 1. That is, one license is in use, another license is not in use. And user license is important when we are creating the user. Which type of license we have to provide, that is important. So that is fine for now. Sorry. Now, when we create one user, that user can have like how that person can access the things, like all the applications, whatever applications I have. Whenever I am going to any Whenever I am going to any record or any object, how I can look into these records and how I can do this edit and I can do the changes, how that can be done. Now, that depends upon two things. Always remember, security and access. This goes hand to hand in Salesforce, and there are two different things you have to consider always. One is access of the objects and access of the application related things. That is one part. And there is another part, that is access of data, like this data, how I can look into this data. If there are multiple records in one system, one person might or might not be seeing all the records. Most of the scenario, they will not see all the records except the system admin. Why? The reason behind that is that not all the records are shared with all the people. Now,
Sir, can you repeat again?
yes, I can. So one thing is that you have your records, right? Salesforce records. Now, whether I can look into that record or not, that depends upon the sharing. How I am sharing that record with another person. Okay. Say uh, here only two users are there. So it is difficult to, until and unless I log in with that other user, you cannot look into this. Now, say whoever the owner of any record, say this person is owner. Now, if I change this owner, ideally the other person cannot look into this record. Why? Because this record needs to be shared with the people who needs to look into this record. So this thing is called record sharing. So there are two different types of access. One is application and object level access. One is data level access. Data level access is record sharing, and application and object related things are like create, edit, delete, permission of the object. Whenever I am looking into any object, whether I can create new record or not, that defines whether I can click on create new, or I can click on edit or not. Like this edit button will not be shown if I remove edit permission from this profile, whatever profile I am using. So this will include two things. First is profile, another thing is role. Whenever I am looking into any user, there are two things. One is profile, one is role. Okay. Profile is mandatory. Whenever we are creating user, profile is mandatory. Role is not mandatory. Okay. One user can have only one profile, one role as well. One, I can assign one role or I can assign no role to a person. But profile is mandatory, and at least one profile needs to be associated with one user whenever we are creating any user. Till now, whatever I have told, is that clear? That every user in Salesforce will have some user license. Depending upon user license, what type of access that person can have will be defined. Now, there are two different types of access in Salesforce. One is application and object level access. One is data level access. Data level access is also called record sharing. Object level access and application level access are defined or provided through profile, are, are provided by profile. Data related things mostly done by role and some other things as well. Okay, so role is directly associated with data level access. Profile is associated with object level and application level access. Till now, is it clear, Suraj?
Yeah, sir, clear.
Okay. So this is very important thing what I am going to tell you today. This the whole structure, whole system is defined on the basis of this. First thing is that in Salesforce, whenever we are doing anything, we are uh, developing any application, we need to remember that to whom I have to provide this access, to whom, like who is going to utilize this. Like I am creating one field. Now that field will be updated by whom? Who can update? Who can edit? Okay.
User.
So to edit one record, first you need the access in that object level that you have edit permission in that object. How we can look into that? Let me go to profile. This is the access. This is profile level access. As you can see in for this profile, I have all the access, but it does not mean that every profile will have all these access. I can look into any standard profile. Let me look into that. Mm, look into this. So where was my system admin? Hmm, anyway, I can just go to now look into these two things. This is not system admin. This is system admin. Take these two tabs. So the previous one, that is the system admin, this profile is having permission to do everything. That is why we are calling it system admin. But the standard users, whatever profile we are defining, we have to be very sure that which objects that those people, like if this profile is assigned to some user, what are the privileges at object level I am going to provide to that person. Now here you can see view all and modify all is not given to any of the for any object. And here these are the standard objects, standard object permission. Whatever custom object you are creating, those custom object permission will be coming here under this. Okay. External permission, you don't need to bother about it right now. But these things, this read, create, edit, delete, these are the these are the permissions we have to provide to some person. View all and modify all are special permissions. It is clearly written data administration. You can look into this. This is basic access. This is data administration. What is data administration? We will come to that later. For now, just remember that if I have to provide access to any object, to any field, to someone, that needs to be included, that permission needs to be included in the profile, in the profile of that user, right? If I am say, it does not make duplicate. Okay, let it be. We have seen this thing precisely, but we haven't looked into that very well when we were creating fields, right? Let's go to any field, any custom field. Whenever we are creating any custom field, this one is a custom field, right? What is field accessibility? Who can, like, which profile can do what kind of field accessibility they have. Hidden means I cannot look into this field. Required, that means it is required for me, like if I have to create or edit record in this object, this field is required for me. Another thing, mm, self field level security. What is field level security? For any profile, whether that person can view, visible, and read only. What is read only? Read only means the I cannot change the record. I cannot change the value of this field. I can only check whatever is there. That is read only. In my edit screen, the field will not be there anyway if it is read only. Okay, but visible, only visible means I can do both. I can edit. I can view. Okay, this is one part. Another part is that whenever you have to mention it properly, go to view field level security. You can choose any field, and then you can identify where, like, which profiles are having this, having the uh, specific access, what kind of access you have. Now, if I go to editable, you can see what types of values I can provide. At risk end, at profile level, I have visible, not read only. I can make it read only. Okay. And here it is visible. I can make it read only or I can make it required. Either of that. Because if it is read only, that means I cannot edit the value, and required means I have to provide some value. So this will contradict. That is why either of them I can choose, not both. Clear? Clear to everybody?
Yes.
So here we are providing the access of the fields. So read, create, edit, delete, this kind of access. These are object level permissions. If I am saying object level permission, that means object level permissions and field level permissions as well, because fields are actually part of object. Okay. So this kind of access we provide through profile. Always remember, with profile we provide this kind of access. Okay. And there is another thing, another part of security, that is data. What is account object? Like where I can store the company information. Fine. There I have one field at risk. Can I edit the value of that field for any record? Like can I make one account at risk and another one I can remove that at risk thing? That permission is given through profile. In profile, if I have edit action access in that field, then I can do this. Now the question is, for which records I can do this? Here, the permission, whatever is given till now, that is at object level. But how many records of account I can view? Say there are 100 records in the org for account. I can view only those records for which that data, that record is shared with me. Okay. This thing is called data level permission or data level security. In Salesforce, these two things are very crucial. One is profile level access, one is data level access. Data level access, whenever you are creating any record for any object where you have create permission, you can create any record. If you create any record, you become the owner of the record. And if you are the owner of any record, you will get default access, like by default it is shared with you. But any record which you haven't created, that record needs to be shared with you properly. So that sharing can happen through multiple ways. Like we will go through that next day, like how we can share records in Salesforce, that we will go through next day. But at least remember this thing, that whenever you need to view any record of any object in Salesforce, you need to have the sharing of that record. That record must be shared with you if you are not the owner of the record. If you are owner of the record, then obviously you will get the access. If you are not the owner of the record, then you need to have the sharing. This thing is called data sharing. Okay, or record sharing. So record sharing can happen in different ways. Like manually, someone can share records, or someone can provide record sharing with some automated rule, which is called sharing rules. Okay. Next day, we will see how we can write sharing rules and what are the types of sharing rules. There can be other ways of record sharing, like using account team, using opportunity team, using role hierarchy, where the role will come into play. And there can be another thing which is called territory management. So what is territory and how that is managed, we will go through these things precisely next class. But for today, remember this clearly. Whenever there is the question of security in Salesforce, there are two different parts. One is application and object level security. Another part is data level security. Object level security are governed by profiles, and data level security is primarily governed by role and other things. Okay. Any question till now? Because I will move to the next thing.
Sir, OWD role hierarchy is available in like sharing setting, right?
Not able to hear you. Can you please come little louder?
Uh, OWD and role hierarchy is available in sharing setting.
OWD is organization wide default. Organization wide default defines the data visibility, record visibility. If we go to OWD, we can go to OWD right now. Just give me a second. So whenever we are going to sharing settings, this is organization wide default. This organization wide default controls the record visibility, not the object level access. This access defines the record record level access. All objects you can see here. For lead, it is public read write transfer. What is transfer? I will come to that later. At least read write means all the users, all the Salesforce users who are having access to Salesforce can read and write all the records. Okay. Which one cannot be like, as I was saying you, like the record, if you are not the owner, then you cannot see. How we can define that if I am the owner, then only I can see that record until and unless it is shared with anyone else. No one else can look into that record. The access is private. Okay. What is external access? We will discuss that later. I am not going to discuss that right now. Internal access, you have to look into this thing. If it is private, that means only the owner and the record to whom it is shared, that person can look into this record. If it is public read write, that means anybody can look into any record. Like how account is defined right now in this org, that is public read write. That means anybody can look into this record. But anyway, this is OWD is the baseline to control the data security. That is how we can handle data. Profile is your object and application level access. OWD is the base of data security. On top of that, there will be other things. Okay, there will be sharing rules, there can be teams, there can be other things. But data security, how we can set up and how we can move on, that we will come to that thing in our next class. Okay, this thing will be I will cover this once again. So whenever I can do this, whenever grant access using hierarchy, what does that mean? How role hierarchy comes into picture? All these things we will discuss. But for now, we have to learn what is profile.
Yes.
So in profile, I'm not sure why it is not coming. Let me go to. So with profile, what we can control: standard object layouts, which layout to be assigned for which object, that we can control. Field level security, you can go to the object and you can do that. From profile also you can just do the same thing. Whatever the fields are, field type, and what kind of access, read access or edit access. Custom app settings. What is custom app? We will come to that once again. You have created some custom app initially. How you can provide access to custom app? You can do that using profile. More important thing, tab settings. What is tab? You have created tab for one custom object, if you can remember. Here you can have three different values: default on, default off, and tab hidden. Okay, what is tab hidden and what is default off? Say assets. You can see no items to find out as assets. It is tab hidden. Is there anything called default of? if you look into the menu items, you cannot view this channel program. Okay, but in app launcher, if you search, you will find channel program because it is default off. Tab hidden means this tab is hidden from this profile. The people who are having assigned to this profile cannot look into that tab. Okay, in app launcher we can look into all the tabs and all the apps that I have defined long back, right? So if it is default on, you can look into that thing in the menu. If I go into say sales, you have one app. Within that app you have all these tabs. Now whether this tab is visible to someone or not, that depends upon these settings. Where is that? This settings, tab settings. There are other things as well in the application itself. You can go and you can add these tabs there. All these things can be done. Now another important thing, that is record type. Which record types we have and access to which record type for this profile we have defined, that will come under this section. There are some other important things like say, where is marketing user? These are custom apps, like which apps you will have access, that you have to control from here. You can just whenever you are designing something for one customer, just check which applications they will have access. Ideally they should have access to one or two applications only, not all the applications. This is tab. Now, oh, marketing user is on user, not here. But anyway, all the application related uh, all the application related permissions, you can get it from this page. We have defined the object level permission already. This one, these two, view all and modify all, I will explain in next class as well. So in when we are moving into data. Now another important thing, if you have written any apex class, then that apex class need to have access, just a minute. That apex class needs to be assigned to one profile so that that person can access that class, otherwise you will get error. Okay, so whenever you are writing any apex class, visual force page nowadays are not that much used, so you don't need to bother it about it right now. um, but in some places it is still used. So enable apex class access means whenever you are creating any apex class, whenever you are using any apex class, the creating any apex class, in the profile you have to provide the access. Okay, that is one of the important. Now login hours and login IP range, whenever we are creating any profile, we can restrict, we can say someone that from these specific IP only you can access. Okay, you can access this system from these specific IPs. Your system IP will be provided here, and with that system only you can log in. You cannot log in with other system. This can be done in user record as well. This can be done at profile level as well. So one level up. So profile means all the users of this profile can access from one specific IP range. Okay. And login hours means, say your working hours is say morning 9 to evening 7. So that hours I can just specify so that you cannot access it outside your working hour. So that kind of restriction can be provided at profile level. Clear? There are others permission as well, like flow, how to provide flow access. You can do this. And custom metadata type access. Metadata type is one of the important thing. Password policy. How you are defining the password policy for the users. So in every week, if you have to reset their password, like they should not have any specific they should not be using one same password for longer period of time. You can define this. You cannot use last three passwords. If you have to do this kind of thing, you have to do this configuration here. Now, after how many times I need to log out? Session settings, you can just all these settings, you can just look into it, and if you have any specific question, we can discuss that in the next class. Now, so what we have identified is that object level and application level permissions are actually performed or provided through profile. There is another thing which is called permission set. So what is permission set? We will discuss that now. That is, say you have same people, like say you have 10 people in one profile, same profile. So they all have same object level permission, same app level permission, right? Say you have salespeople in one company. So all the salespeople will have the same permission. Now, say there are some approvals you have to do depending upon some specific condition. Say, who are actually handling the region, say some region head, or who are actually working as manager. They need to do something additional. There are some additional two objects for whom you have to provide the access, but they are belonging to same profile. How you can do that? The way to provide additional permission at object level and application level is called permission set. So you can define one permission set. In permission set, you can assign users. Once you assign the users in permission set, those people will be getting additional privileges, additional access with respect to uh, object access and application access. Okay. So this is one of the important thing. One user can have multiple permission sets assigned. Okay. You can assign multiple permission set to one user. So one user must have one profile. Whenever you are creating one user, one profile is must. You can provide one role to that user. Role is not mandatory, but role is actually required when you need to set up data security through hierarchy. Role is important, but it is not mandatory. Okay, but you can assign only one role to one person. Again, permission set. It is not mandatory to have the permission set, but you can assign permission set to users, and you can assign multiple permission sets to one user. Clear?
Yes.
So we have covered the profile level permission and profile level access in today's class. Before that, we have covered how we can upload data with external ID. We have checked like uh, from ID, like ID in Salesforce can be 15 digit or 18 digit, and 18 character, in fact, and how the ID pattern, the first three characters can define like which record is this, that can be identified from ID. And then we have come into Salesforce security. In security, we have already discussed and we have checked like object level permissions, that is read, create, edit, delete, view all, and modify all. We haven't discussed today. We will discuss that in next class. But how we can do this, like how we can define uh, tab level permission, app level permission, login level permission, all these things, how we can control. All these things can be controlled from profile. And there is another set which we have touched upon, that is data. How data security can work. Data security can work in a way like from starting from OWD to role hierarchy to sharing. There are lots of things which we will go in detail in next class. Fine. Any question? Okay.
No, sir.
If you do not have any question, then we can just close today's class.